Whoa.
Now, I wouldn't do that. I would have to, I wouldn't go up real high because I'd be scared I was gonna fall. I would have to get comfortable with climbing a short tree first.
I've never heard of tree climbing.
I don't think I've ever heard of tree climbing either.
Something I would try? I don't know. I'm kind of allergic to gravity.
The last time I climbed a tree, I was probably about 10. So, none recently.
I think it's great.
It's
I think you should
Awesome.
hang on to your childhood as long as possible.
Sometimes people give me strange looks when they find out how I spend my time, particularly doing things like this. Quite frankly, I don't think that climbing a tree is any stranger than climbing rocks, perhaps. Plenty of people climb rocks. If tree climbers are perceived as strange, it's mostly because it has not quite yet become a mainstream activity. And a lot of people just haven't really thought about climbing trees before. I really have to say, Mitch, that I feel sorry for all those people who never get to see anything except out the window of a tour bus. Get back here in the woods, get a little mud on your feet, get up in the top of a tree, get dirty, then you have really experienced the place. On rope, going down.
Well, when you say you're going to go tree climbing, well, first off, people go, really? It's sort of like, whoa, really? You're going to go tree climbing? It sort of takes them aback because I think it taps into their childhood because they used to do it as kids. Then they might be thinking, you know, like hand over hand type tree climbing, like a magnolia tree or dogwood tree or something like that. Then when you tell them, say, now we'll climb me a 100-foot tree today. It's, whoa, how are you going to do that? You know, it really takes them aback. They have no conception. No conception. So I'm open for questions.
What kind of drugs were y'all doing?
I have a T-shirt. The motto of Tree Climbers International is get high, climb trees. But no, we don't do drugs in the trees.
Not bad either.
Well, I go by, we all have tree names. Abe, for instance, goes by the name of AI, which is a Brazilian, I think, name for the sloth. Abe is very slothful. He climbs very slowly.
Abe is the Santa Claus of tree climbing. You know, how can you not love Abe, you know?
One of the joys in climbing is when you get high in the canopy and you're above the rest of the trees. You're an emergent tree then. It's like being in an island above the rest of the canopy. One of the joys is when you get a 360-degree view and you're higher than everything else in the area. That is just a hoot and a half.
Peter Jenkins, of course, is Tree Man. Most people credit him with being the founding spirit behind the idea of recreational tree climbing.
I started the world's first recreational tree climbing school in 1983. This is, and Nimrod right here is where it started. I'm a certified arborist, which means I take care of trees, take down dead trees, trim dead branches, diagnose diseases and hazards and stuff like that. That's what I do for a living. And I was doing that work for 5 years, and I kept getting requests from my clients, and they'd say, you know, I used to climb trees as a kid, you know, and I used to love it. Would you take me up? And I'm thinking, you know, how come there's no sport or recreation of tree climbing? I mean, it's totally safe and there's trees everywhere. And then I decided, hey, I could be the one.
And I can't remember what Genevieve's name is. Can't remember.
No, I haven't chosen a tree name. So if I do, I will certainly announce it to the world.
Genevieve Summers is, I would have to probably say, the leading female of all recreational tree climbers in the world. She is an inspiration to all of us males that climb too. To watch her climb in the trees is like watching a squirrel up there.
It's like I'm climbing into the sky with every reach. I'm also climbing into me. Often it's fun to hear people after the class or even the first day of class and they come back and they say, you know, on the drive home, I really saw trees so differently. Not only are they seeing them differently, but they're literally seeing them. So how often do we drive and get so focused in on getting from point A to point B, it changes their whole way of the way they see the forest. They look with different eyes.
Tim Kovar is one of, he really is one of the most senior instructors, along with Abe and Genevieve Summers.
So my tree climbing name is Tengu, which is part crow, part human. It's a Japanese mythical creature that lives in the trees, and he's kind of equivalent to a Native American coyote. He's a trickster.
My tree name is Swampy Joe because I like going into the swamps. Swamps are my favorite place to be. It started out being Swamp Fool, but I nixed that real quick. I told them they couldn't call me Swamp Fool. Swampy Joe works, that's me. But we all have our tree names, and you know, it's sort of part of our culture. We have what we call the tree bark. No, we're not talking about the bark on the tree. We're talking about something that sort of sounds like woof, 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 woof. That's a tree bark, and that's how we greet each other. And if you're sitting in the top of the tree and somebody starts woofing, you know there's another tree climber in the area. That's us. Arf! Arf!
I got started, me, barking at people, barking at dogs. People I'm climbing with today are all seasoned climbers. They have years of experience. Most of them instruct. And it's sort of like the advanced climbers out, just to have a good time. Okay, let me ask you this. How far are we from the trees from right here?
Okay. Maryland is 50 yards. Maryland is 50
No way,
yards
just
that
50
way.
yards, how cool!
And the mother of all pines is maybe 75 yards that way.
That's all?
Come here. Follow me.
Cool.
Yeah, but you have to go through two creeks.
Yeah. Pine tree, right through there?
See the big pine?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Peter, I've been to 150 feet and there's room to spare.
That's scary.
I'm climbing in a national forest today. The authorities, the bureaucrats, the rangers, the people responsible for this probably don't know that I'm here.
Yippee-yi-ki-yay!
I'm not hiding from them, but at the same time, I don't go around advertising my presence.
We have two different style climbs there. One is a stealth climb and one is a ninja climb. And in the ninja climb, that's where you're going in and you're there, and okay, if you get caught, you're caught, and you just go about doing it. A stealth climb is that you normally climb off of the path, like what we chose to do here. If we stay quiet, people aren't even never going to know.
I must admit, yes, I have been thrown out of trees. The first question is, hey, what are you doing up there? Climbing a tree, sir? Do you have permission? No, sir. Well, then come down. Yes, sir.
We need to get the public away from thinking that we are nothing more than a bunch of rogues out there, hand over hand, limb to limb, like spider monkeys. That's not what we're doing at all. Everything is wonderful. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. We climb on rope. We have many safety protocols that we follow. We are not 10-year-old kids. At least in fact we're not. Spiritually we all are about 10 years old. In fact, we talk about climbing trees as a way to recapture one's youth. And I certainly enjoy being up in a tree. I feel like a 10-year-old every time I do it.
Sleeping in a tree is kind of intense. We call it canopy camping.
I hold monthly sleepovers. We call them Z's in the trees. We'll go up usually around 5 o'clock at night, put our hammocks up, get the village set up, come down, eat dinner, and then we'll come back just in time for a drumming circle that starts about 25 yards away from the trees. 7 out of 10 times that I spend the night in a tree, I will have flying squirrels come right next to me. Occasionally I'll even have them crawling on my chest as I'm lying up there. They'll just kind of check me out. I also do dinner dates up in the treetops as well, where I have 2 chairs about 40 feet up into the canopy, and I lower a table down to them. I have my kitchen up right next to them, so I cook all the food in the trees, and we have candles throughout the trees.
There are some things that have been done in trees that I can't really talk about here. I'll leave that up to your imagination.
Yeah, we have more experienced tree climbers that will go up into the tree and spend the night up in the trees. And the airlines have the Mile High Club. So in the tree climbing world, we have the 100-foot club. So if you hear the carabiners are clinking, don't come shaking the ropes,
When you're young, you can do some foolish things, and I tried a couple times climbing trees in electrical storms, which is nothing but a fear experience, and I just wanted to experience it, which I won't do again.
We do also I go up occasionally on, when the hurricanes come through. It's called tree surfing, and we'll go up there and ride the trees and stuff. The loblolly pines are great. You can get a good 20 or 30 foot swing on these trees.
Sometimes there'll be a windy day, and we'll get on the phones and we'll say, surf's up.
I can't give away all my secrets of what I do up in the trees, but there's a couple of them. Well, I like to go up sometimes at nighttime, and I have a didgeridoo, which is an Australian Aborigine instrument. And I'll go up there, and I'll just start playing the didgeridoo. I'll pull my rope up, and I'll have people start to walk underneath the tree, and then they'll cross the street, and I'll hear them talk. What type of bird is that? What kind of owl is that up in the tree? So messing with people is kind of fun when you're up in the treetop. It just makes them think a little bit. It helps open up the public's mind, their creative part of their own mind.
There's so much goofing off I'd rather not do. I can get my pleasure just by just sheer being here. It's a joy for me to be up here, and my heart can start pumping. It is pumping right now. My butt's about ready to go to sleep, I'll have to tell you that.
The nice part about Rachel, she's got lots of room to play in.
I think tree climbing is the way I celebrate my life, your life, my tree friends, and everything around me.
Well, I consider bubbles as important to tree climbing as my harness or my rope, because once you're up there, then this is the fun activity to do, is just blow bubbles. I don't know.
There's so much goofing off, I'd rather not do. I can get my pleasure just by sheer being here. It is a joy for me to be up here, and my heart can start pumping. It is pumping right now.
We'll fill up the forest. Ready? Here we go.
So what delights me about recreational tree climbing is that it just expands my fun.
Yeah, I love doing this.
I love who I am when I'm tree climbing. I do.
I think trees like visits. They like humans to love them and touch them.
I get a feeling with the tree itself, and it's almost like she's asking us to be here.
Before I climb a tree, I always try to get permission from the tree before I climb it. To me, it's like walking into a church, walking into the cathedral. You're walking up the steps. You're walking into one of the Creator's temples.
On rope.
And to walk up towards a tree that way with an open heart and open mind, you feel that connection. And as I get closer, I feel the energy of the tree and myself kind of colliding into one. If at any time I feel a little hesitation, or using the cathedral analogy, if the doors are locked, I'll just pay my respects, maybe hang out at the base of the tree for a while, but I will not climb.
Well, I feel at peace when I'm up in a tree. I've always felt that way, even as a kid. I've often thought why people, even first-time climbers, feel at peace and sort of at ease. And I think it's in the genetic structure because, you know, we used to hang out, trees used to be our safety. Where I see tree climbing helping the environment is people generally will value something if they use it. You get these big, beautiful trees, people start climbing them safely. They're not going to want them cut down because, wow, this is a gym. This is their playroom. The trees are no longer things that drop limbs and drop leaves and drop acorns. I'm so tired of cleaning up after the tree. Now they become personal because you climb the tree and you relate to it. So what I'm doing here is I'm measuring the diameter of the tree, diameter breast height. And this is for keeping records and a little bit of boast factor, you know, as I climbed this monster tree. And this is, you know, like an accurate measurement. Now, there are plenty of good climbing trees. I mean, there's plenty of good climbing trees. But the really old trees, the ancient trees, the champion trees, they're very special. And I think they should be protected. I'm always curious, you know, what are we climbing here? And we've got, I'd say 48 inches. That's really big for a pine tree. Down here, it's big.
Tree climbing, if it gets too large, is a major concern of mine. The last thing I want to do is see Mountain Dew commercials up in the trees.
What I don't want to happen is peak bagging in trees where everyone wants to climb the champion trees, the big tallest trees and stuff like that. It becomes a fad just to climb the biggest of the big. And these biggest of the bigs are old trees. They're ancient and they're fragile. I don't want to advertise where these big trees are. Not me.
There's no need to overpower other people or the trees or the planet. And so I think tree climbing is a way to deepen our awareness of how vital trees are to our lives.
Back here in a swamp between Florida River and the Apalachicola. Beautiful swamp back here. Hardwoods and cypresses mostly. This place is awfully doggone primordial. And The simple fact that it's very remote, very wild, very woolly is for me the biggest drawing card. I like this one. With this thing, I can hurl a line up there, probably hit a limb more than 100 feet up. We get up in the top of this tree right here, and we can honestly look at each other and tell ourselves that we're the first person ever that's ever set foot in this place. This is what it's all about, okay? That's all I can say about it. I liked this tree from the moment I saw it, and the higher I climb, the better I like it. Well, I went through the forest to a place with no name. Sat on a limb in a tree with no name. Saw the forest below, saw the sky above. Watched the animals that live in between. Saw the monkey swing, saw the turtle crawl. Watched the butterflies flying free. Felt the rain in my hair and the wind on my face, 'cause I knew I was where I should be. Well, I've come through the forest to a place with no name, and I've been here before, come here again. La da da la da da da, la da la da da da.
Woof, woof.
Woof, 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 woof. And that's the end. Woof.